Hey there, geeks! Adam and Mike back with another Wednesday Rewind. But it's not just another Wednesday Rewind. This might be the last Wednesday Rewind. Yes, but we had to get one more in here. We've been enjoying our journey, picking up new comics every week from the comic shop. Mission accomplished, Mike. You got me excited.
Yep.
I have so many titles that I picked up today that are continuing series that I've been enjoying, but we know that we were there for one comic in particular. This is what extended the life of the Wizards Wednesday Rewind. Michael called it in. He said we got to have this. That is Absolute Batman. As we left off last week, I will say I was not happy with the character design of this new Batman. I immediately was turned off. I said, I don't like this. The Superman looks like normal proportions. The Wonder Woman looks like normal proportions. What is this? What is this creature that is jacked up on this and to crazy, crazy proportions? And Mike said, well, I'm not in it for the art though. I'm in it for the storytelling. And Scott Snyder says there's some good stuff in store. Mike, you were right on this. There was a
Yes.
great story in just waiting to be, you know, yeah, I'm gonna have my criticisms, but I will say that this book is amazing. It's not just a good book, it's a great book.
It surpassed my expectations. Okay, I was like you, Adam. I was one of those few early on that was thinking, I don't know about this. I don't the his head looks smaller than his body. I was just it felt off, but as time went on and the hype kept coming on X or Instagram, I was like, I don't know. I think I'm becoming a part of the hype. Like I think I'm enjoying it. And then I got the Ash can from San Diego Comic-Con, which just had some art in it. It didn't really give you an idea of what the story was.
Oh, okay.
But that's a tough book to get now, I think. I think it's sought after. So I'm happy I have it. But yeah, and then I convinced you to do this, to pick it up. And it it absolutely blew away my expectations. I didn't know what I was expecting, to be honest, but the storytelling is so good. So this whole story is told from the perspective of Alfred, and you get this Batman's origin through his eyes and through his research of who Bruce is. And I just thought that was such a cool way of telling the story. And yeah, this feels oversized, right? Like, what is this, like 42 pages or something?
Yeah, it definitely is a thicker comic,
It's a
but
thick
put
book.
to great use. Like,
Really, oh my God, and so many panels on some pages. That's what amazed me the most because I was like, wow, this page has like 10 panels and every piece helps tell the story or at least set the tone.
this is really cool, which is he's like old haggard secret agent Alfred. He's got armor on, he's got a motorcycle and all this stuff that he's coming into Gotham. And he's kind of writing his diary or whatever he's doing here, this record he's keeping. But yeah, when he takes off his motorcycle helmet and you see this Alfred, you're like, this dude he's seen some stuff and he's awesome. And he's getting like orders from like this mysterious organization. You don't know who he works for, you don't know why. He got pulled out of some other mission to go to Gotham to check in on this gang that is just out there murdering people. But it just I honestly, when I thought like, oh well, maybe Batman's just going to be like a rumor off to the side and it's going to be about Alfred, I was okay with that because he just looks amazing and his attitude is really cool too. It's not like I'm prim and proper. It's not like I'm James Bond. He's more just like he's got that grittiness to him, but not over the top. I really loved how Snyder wrote him.
Yeah, no, he's cool. He's a badass. I don't get off on the badasses, but this works for me
Yeah.
completely. So what'd you think of Bruce's origin?
Yeah,
Uh,
so they do, like they have to give you the basics, which I appreciated. I just want to say that because so many books, right? They're like, oh, well, it's gonna be set up later, it's gonna be revealed later. We're just teasing you with this. And this gives you everything you need to know about this beginning, this universe, and especially the origin in it, because this is a reimagining, right? So in this case, yeah, you're learning that Bruce, was at a zoo with his dad and there's an attack and that you don't know every detail there, but you could gather, okay, he is now not completely orphaned, but he probably lost his dad, but you don't know yet. You don't know. You see there's an incident when he's a kid, but now that he's an adult, he understands the entire infrastructure of Gotham because
yes.
he's worked building buildings. He's done this. He worked for utilities. He's done everything in even in his activities. They say later if he's blown up a staircase while fighting bad guys,
To fix it.
he goes back the
Okay.
next day or
This,
whatever and
if
builds.
I have to criticize anything, my only criticism is he's what, 23 years old? Do you unless Gotham has figured out like bureaucracy, I don't know how they can get a new staircase built within like a
Yeah, because it
span
doesn't
of
seem like he's necessarily like connected. That's what they said, right? There's no mansion.
nope.
Like he's not rich per se.
No, he's like an everyman doing government jobs. I
Yeah.
love this interpretation. I like this more than the real Batman, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll eventually start hating him, but right now I'm like, this is way more relatable and cool.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fascinating. Now, what did you think about the costume and the new gadgets and the enhancements, the things that Batman's bringing to the table now?
yeah, when I saw the photo of this cover, I thought, what is this stupid arm things? But then when I realized he's doing like the bat like wing thing, like those are bat wings, like kind of like the way bats walk. I've seen other images where he like uses them as like stilts, or he kind of does it in this where he holds himself up and he's kicking two guys,
Yeah,
right?
so his cape actually, it's extra long, but it's like rigid and it has like hook like
Hooks in
claws
it.
on the end
Yeah.
and everything. So yeah, the cape is now a weapon. It's not just like armor. Sometimes he holds up, to protect himself like a shield or keep himself from getting burned. It actually has like, he can actually attack with it now, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it's cool. The logo is so silly. It's silly like how he looks. I still don't. There was a lot of rumors going around that maybe he's injecting himself with venom,
That's why he's
and
all
that's
jacked.
all he's
Okay.
all jacked, which I thought was cool. I think it's just the style. I think it's just Nick Dragota's art
Well,
style that
so
makes
let
him
me
like
talk
this.
about that because as much as
Okay.
I loved the writing, as much as I loved the setup, I loved every new conceit, of the Batman Bruce Wayne story. I still cannot get over the character design for Batman, for Bruce, particularly when they show him out of costume. Like you say, he's a young guy and
He's
he's got this
23.
tiny little boy head and he's got this massive, like, gorilla body. Like, he looks like that guy from the Umbrella Academy. You're just he's shaved or something. Like, everybody else in the universe in Gotham is a normal sized proportioned person and he is out of control, like gigantic, especially the first time he shows up at a panel next to this guy at a punching bag. And then he comes in and you're like, everybody would know if they see a Batman physique and then they see you and everybody should be commenting, why do you look like this? What are you doing? Are you on the juice? Like what? Like he looks so ridiculous. And then he was pulled from some like manga and then they just like dropped him into this story and he's like, you don't work here. That is the
I
problem.
I think you need to. This is the way I'm looking at it. I'm trying to stop looking at it like regular comic book art like that you get from DC that's very clean, and look at it as setting a tone and a feeling more than like hey, this is, imagine this as a movie. Like, don't think of it that way. Think of it like it's exaggerate, it's expressionism, you know? It's
But
almost
the
like
problem is no one else is. He is the only character in the universe that gets that treatment, and that's the problem I have. If like there were other like henchmen or the criminals he's fighting or somebody looked like out of proportion and strange, I was like, oh, that's a choice. But they've only made it a choice for the character of Bruce Wayne and
I don't
Batman.
know, the guy that he works out with or the guy's shop, he's got like tiny head.
Well,
You
Killer
know?
Croc, yeah. I
Is
mean,
that his name? Is that Killer
well,
Croc? Is
yeah,
that
that's who
really
he's gonna be eventually. And that is a cool conceit too, also, is that Bruce Wayne has this like group of friends that they grow up with. And the guy actually says, he mentions all their friends, like Ozzy is obviously Oswald, because he mentions the
Yes.
penguin, like and stuff like that. But like so and you have, there's going to be a Selena, there's going to be, so all the characters, Harvey, like are in this universe, but they're childhood friends, and we're probably going to see what direction they've all gone in. So it does make those references. But yeah, he's a big guy, but he's not out of control big. Like he just looks like a muscular dude.
I don't know. It reminds me of like what Kelly Jones was doing with Batman back in the day. It was all weird. Or Sam Keith used to have giant legs. I was into that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
you're okay. Like I say, if it was a choice that was placed anywhere else on any other body in there, it'd be fine. But
have you seen there's a meme going around and it's like I don't know if it's like just getting back from picking up Absolute Batman and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's body, but he has like a tiny head and he's like ripped. So
well, that's what I'm saying. Like it looks like cat boobs. This looks like Liefeld to me. This looks like a bad choice.
it's back,
This,
Adam. It's
yeah,
back.
it's back.
Accept it, love it.
But that's what I'm saying. All that being said, every time Bruce Wayne and Batman, if he's not in shadow, if his full physique is on display, I am taken out of the book. But it pulls me right back in because every little setup, every little character that's introduced, everything makes sense in a wonderful way. Not like, oh, here's logical real world Batman. It's just like, no, this is cool. This is a cool idea that goes somewhere. And so I will be picking up issue 2 just because it really is a great universe, like so much better than Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man, I had a slow start and I thought I liked it, and then I was like, no, I definitely don't like this. It didn't go anywhere. So like this sets everything up beautifully. So bravo, Scott Snyder, you did a wonderful job
Well,
putting
I
it
also
together.
like this as a single issue. It's just such
Yeah,
a perfect book, and it also has a great like I want to keep reading moment. Like he's stealing all of Alfred's stuff. That's how he gets his bat cycle. Is he's stealing Alfred's tools? It's fantastic.
yeah. So great book. I will say, Mike, just not to make you jealous again, but when I bought my Absolute Batman, they gave me another Justice League card.
I forgot
So,
to ask. You know what? I am calling my shop after this because I think there's some books I wish I had picked up that I hadn't. But
mhm.
I'm gonna have to deal with this. One last thing I want to talk about this book really quick
Yeah.
is again he's done it to me. It's like I was on the fence about it when I saw the way Batman looked and it felt weird to me. Now I'm in love with it. I don't love how the book ends on this new Joker.
You
That
you
I'm
don't like
like,
you don't like the
what?
idea behind it, the
Yeah,
tease?
he doesn't laugh. Like he doesn't even look like he's all hunched over and he's a billionaire or is it a trillionaire? It's weird. I'm like, hey, I could be
Well, we'll
wrong though.
see.
I
Yeah, let's
I'm
see.
very curious to know where he's going with that. So it's working either way. He has
Um,
my money.
I did want to ask you a question though, because another book you and I both picked up that we've been reading is Geiger by Ghost
Yeah.
Machine. But I saw this and I was like, is this still Geiger? Because everything has changed about the design of this book now. It's Ghost Machine Presents. The logo is different. Even the Ghost
Yeah.
Machine logo itself is different.
So Adam, what you're
Yeah.
holding is a secret variant cover.
Oh, okay.
So so my understanding is that this is the A cover and that you have there's the A cover. I picked up both as well, just because
Okay.
I was like, what is this? So this was the main cover, but then they secretly released the cover you bought, and it's a 50-50 split. So if a store ordered 100 copies, 50 of them would be this, 50 of them would be what you have there. What you have there is an homage to Midnight Nation.
It looked very familiar, that
Yeah,
layout. I was just like, wait a minute. And
so,
I will
which
just say,
Gary Frank did the first issue of Midnight Nation.
Okay. Well, but that was the question I had for you is Gary Frank is not in this issue. And guess
Okay.
what? For the next issue, he's not in that either. Is he done? Is he gone from Ghost Machine and Geiger?
No,
Do you
no, no.
know?
He is 100% on board Ghost Machine still. I just did a Ghost Machine fans podcast where I was also confused by a lot of the stuff because I think Rook is almost done. They're taking a break so that Jason Fabok can start the next part of it. Whereas I think in Geiger, Gary Frank is getting a bit of a break and they have a fill-in artist, but the story's continuing. This is clearly the story continuing. Gary, I think, will pick up in a few issues. I don't know how
Okay.
many, I don't know when. He's still on board. He's still
All right.
the main
That was
creator.
good though,
Yeah.
because Paul Pelletier, he does a great job in this
He's
issue.
great
It's
fill-in.
still very
Yeah.
dynamic. It's still very fun. But yeah, you miss like the mood that Gary Frank
The
provides.
detail too. Gary
Yeah.
Frank's details are unreal. Yeah. Brad Anderson still is coloring it. So
Yeah. So you still get the nice glow on the glowing man
yeah,
himself.
it looks
So
great. It yeah. It was it's a great continuation, lots of new character introductions. What did you
yeah.
have anything else that you thought about it?
There wasn't anything major in it. Like it was a solid issue, and I enjoyed the continuation, of what they're setting up. I mean, the big thing for me again was they were looking at a map because they're in Montana. All this storyline has been taking place in Montana, where I live, and so they're showing a map, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here. I'm like, I've been to all those little towns, like in Montana. They're just in the middle of
Look at it
nowhere.
now. Yeah.
I've driven through them, so it's so funny to me just to be like, oh, this is all happening, right,
Yeah.
a couple, 100 miles away from me right now.
I actually think this might be a good starting on point for people who missed out on 1 through 6 in a
Yeah.
way, like because it kind of is starting a new story. We're meeting some new characters. I think it'd be easy to catch up. Like, well, obviously you could go back and get the other issues, but
Hmm.
there's all these new knights. There's a new king in town.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's really cool stuff that's happening.
It was a good setup. Now, I know you picked up one more issue. I picked up two others. The first I'll just say
What?
very
You're
quickly is
buying more than me, Adam.
I couldn't help it. Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age, that's back out. So I got my third issue of that. But the one that I grabbed just on impulse, because I was just like, we're a 90s comic book podcast. This character we were literally just talking about last episode. But there's a new She Number
What?
One, Return of the Warrior. It's just a two-issue miniseries, it says.
And
Billy
who
Tucci
does
doing what Billy Tucci
what?
do.
Okay.
But so apparently there's a bunch of variant covers and stuff. It looks like, I don't know, or maybe that's just imagery that's from his website. But yeah, so I was glad to grab this. I haven't read it yet, but I'm very curious because I have the original first issue, I have the first trade, and all sorts of stuff. So I'm not like a huge She fan, but I've always appreciated the character. So
You could almost call this absolute Toxic Avenger. This is not the Toxic Avenger we grew up with. This is
okay.
like it's kind of a reinvention of the character and his origin. It feels like an interesting mix between the movie and the cartoon series, but
Hmm.
something completely new. Um, Matt Bors tells a great new origin of him, and I think we're going to get a lot more mutants, which is really cool. Um, I'd be curious to know why he did this. Like, did you see the original Toxic Avenger, Adam?
I've seen the first 20 minutes. It got a little intense for me, and I was
No,
just
but
like,
so maybe that's why he did it because like
yeah,
the first one, his origin is that he's bullied to the point that he falls out a window and ends up in toxic waste, and
yeah.
he's bullied to put on like a girl's tutu, and that's why he wears a tutu. In this, he just wears it because he's like kind of he's kind of an alternative kid. He's like, yeah, it's cool, right? And then he's bullied still, but it's not bullying in the classic 80s way,
Hmm.
like I think it's trying to modernize things. I think it's cool. I'm really excited to see where he goes with the story, to be honest with you, because it feels like it's going towards the Toxic Crusaders route to me. I
Yeah,
like the idea that there's other mutants. I love that. Yeah, I recommend it. I think we should
that's
call it
fun.
Absolute Toxic Avenger.
There we go. And that's what I say. Like, I have the old Marvel comics, the Toxic Avenger, and the
Yep.
Toxic Crusaders. I have the Toxic Crusaders trading cards. I definitely know about the world, but yeah, the original Trauma films were not for me.
And the art by who's it by? Fred Harper is so freaking cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Whew.
just so raw, and there's just some panels where you're just like, oh, it's
That
disgusting.
looks like some of those like preacher covers from the
Oh
90s.
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
totally has that vibe. Anyways, I recommend people check it out, especially if you like the Toxic Avenger, but be warned, it is not the Toxic Avenger we grew up with. This is not the Trauma's
And
Toxic
who's putting
Avenger.
it out? Who's publishing it?
Ahoy Comics.
Huh. Interesting.
There's so many publishers, Adam, so many.
Well, and there are so many new comics that will continue to come out, but you probably won't be hearing about them here on YouTube. If
Unless this video blows up.
That's what I'm saying. We're taking a break. You tell us, did you like our Absolute Batman review? Did you like hearing about a few more comics that we're reading? Whatever the case may be. But either way, you can check out what we're doing every week on Wizards, the podcast guide to comics, our podcast where we cover every issue of Wizard magazine. And we are getting close to issue 100 now. We've got a few more bonus issues and things to put in there. We got a special guest for issue 99 that is coming. And so, what we want to do is just have you over there. You can find us on your favorite social media app at Wizards Comics. Go to wizardscomics.com to find our archive of nearly 300 episodes and so much more that you can connect with if you also stay subscribed here on YouTube. But thank you for checking out this video. And until next time, will we be back?